नमस्ते स्टूडेंट्स, क्लास 10 के इस अमेजिंग एक्सप्लेनर में आपका स्वागत है। आज हम पढ़ेंगे चैप्टर 2 स्टोरीज अबाउट फ्लाइंग। सो एज अ टीचर आई हैव ऑलवेज बिलीव्ड दैट स्टोरीज आरंट जस्ट फॉर रीडिंग, राइट? They are for learning. And today we are going to completely decode chapter 3 of your English syllabus. We are not just skimming summaries here, we are getting you 100% board exam ready. So let's jump right in, shall we?
Here is our master plan for today. First, we'll talk about fear, courage, and you. Then we dive right into the seagull's first flight and the black aeroplane mystery. After that, we'll look at inner fears and environment, followed by exam Q&A and vocab, and finally, a revision checklist. Consider this your ultimate study guide.
Section 1. Fear, Courage, and You. Before we dive into the stories, let's just pause for a second to really grasp the emotional core of this chapter. See, this isn't just about birds or planes. It's actually about you and me. Have you ever been absolutely terrified to try something completely new? I mean, really think about it. Pause for a second and remember that exact feeling of panic in your stomach. Once we understand that specific fear, that's when we truly connect with the heroes of our stories today.
Look, the fear our young seagull feels in the first story, it's really not that different from what you face every single day. We're talking modern teenage fears, taking those stressful board exams, trying to balance on a scooter or bike for the very first time, or even standing up for public speaking. You know that terrifying feeling when you're on a scooter, thinking you're going to fall? Well, that's exactly how the little seagull felt. He was completely convinced that if he tried to fly, his wings just wouldn't support him, and he'd crash.
Section 2. The seagull's first flight. Let's see exactly how that kind of deep fear is conquered.
The author brilliantly uses the outside environment to show us the panic inside the characters' heads. On one side, you have the seagull's steep, dangerous ledge. That perfectly represents his isolation and the immense pressure he's under, especially since his parents actually left him there alone and starving, just to force him to be brave. On the flip side, looking ahead to our second story, we have the pilot facing massive, dark storm clouds. Those clouds, they completely mirror his inner confusion and total fear of losing control. So the physical environment literally becomes a mirror for their emotional state. Now, let's feel the climax of this story. Imagine you haven't eaten for 24 hours. You are that little seagull. Your mom flies toward you with a delicious piece of fish, but right at the edge, she just stops in midair. You think to yourself, maddened by hunger, I dived at the fish. I fell outward and downward. My heart stood still. But then, just a minute later, my wings cut through the air. And just like that, the fear is gone and the very first flight begins.
Section 3. The Black Aeroplane Mystery. Man, what an amazing feeling of freedom, right? But now we're leaving the natural world and stepping right into Frederick Forsyth's incredibly tense mechanical thriller.
Let's trace the pilot's journey here. He's flying his old Dakota plane out of Paris, super happy, daydreaming about a family holiday and a big, hearty English breakfast. But then, 150 kilometers out, bam! He hits these mountain-like, pitch-dark storm clouds. Now, pure logic said he should turn back to Paris because he was running low on fuel. But that craving for a holiday and an English breakfast completely hijacked his brain, and he drove the plane straight into the eye of the storm.
Let's put ourselves right in that pilot's seat for a second. Inside those clouds, everything went black. The plane started jumping and twisting like crazy. I looked at my compass. It was dead, just spinning round and round. The radio was dead too, no contact with the control room. Imagine the sheer panic, lost, thinking you're literally going to die. But then I saw another plane. It had no lights on its wings, but the pilot waved and signaled, "Follow me." Oh my goodness, can you imagine the absolute relief?
Let's put both our main characters side by side. How did they face their inner fears? Well, the young seagull's core fear was a total lack of self-belief. What finally made him take action? Simple. Hunger drove him literally crazy. Now, look at our pilot. His fear was dying in that horrific storm. But why did he take the action that caused the danger in the first place? Greed, honestly. That desperate need for an English breakfast and his family. Those were the real core motivations driving them.
You have to appreciate how both authors craft suspense to keep us totally hooked right on the edge of our seats. In the first tale, it's the mother stopping that fish right in midair. In the second, it's the terrifying moment the communication instruments just drop dead. And the ultimate suspense? After safely landing, the pilot asks the woman in the control room about the other plane, and she just laughs, saying, "Yours was the only plane in the sky tonight." Crazy, right?
Section 4. Exam Prep and Vocabulary.
Okay, let's step out of the suspense and put my friendly teacher hat back on. It is time to turn these awesome stories into serious exam day success.
Check this out. This is a massive favorite for board exams. I'll take the risk. What was the risk and why did the pilot take it? This specific question gets tested all the time, so pay close attention.
And here is your perfect model answer. The risk was flying his old Dakota plane straight into those dark storm clouds. He took that massive risk because he desperately wanted a family holiday and that English breakfast. When you're sitting in the exam hall, these are the exact key points you need to hit.
Let's quickly review 3 critical questions for the seagull story. First, why was he afraid? Because he lacked trust in his own wings. Second, what was the mother's trick? She stopped the fish midway to tempt him. Third, what was the result of his dive? He fell at first, but then his wings opened up and he naturally just started flying. Keep this in mind and you'll be golden. Moving to the black airplane, these 2 questions are absolutely vital. 1. What was it like inside the storm? Pitch dark, and both the compass and radio were completely dead. 2. What was the control room woman's reaction? She laughed, simply because his plane was the only one on the radar. There was no black aeroplane.
Now, listen up, guys. If you use these specific vocabulary words in your answers, examiners are going to be seriously impressed. We've got ledge, which is a steep cliff edge, seagull, the seabird, devour, meaning to eat greedily, plateau, a high, flat area of land, encounter, to face something unexpectedly, and absurd, which means completely illogical or ridiculous. Definitely sprinkle these words into your answers to secure those top marks.
Section 5. Final Revision Checklist.
All right, we are at the very end of our session, and this checklist is going to give you absolute confidence on exam day.
Just follow these 3 simple steps. Step 1, memorize that vocabulary we just went over. Step 2, review those character motivations. Remember, it's hunger versus breakfast. And step 3, practice writing out those short Q&As. If you do this, I promise you, you are fully prepared. Always remember, courage isn't the absence of fear, but the triumph over it, just like the young seagull did, and exactly like you will in your exams. But before I let you go, I want to leave you with one final, mysterious thought. Who do you think flew the black aeroplane? Was it a ghost, an alien, or just the pilot's own inner strength guiding him? Think about it. Keep studying hard, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.